The Late Show with Stephen Colbert studio was a pulsating hub of late-night energy, its sleek Broadway set aglow with neon lights and a raucous audience roaring with anticipation as the jazzy theme music faded, ushering in a high-stakes segment under the glaring spotlights on a stormy May 20, 2025, evening. Mark Wahlberg, the Boston-born action star known for his gritty performances in The Departed and Dead, strode onto the stage in a black leather jacket, his intense charisma and steely gaze drawing thunderous cheers from the crowd, there to promote his new thriller Flight Risk and discuss his faith-based fitness app, a project tied to his outspoken Catholic beliefs. The air crackled with the promise of a fiery exchange, given Stephen Colbert's reputation for sharp-witted, satirical jabs and Mark's history of standing firm on his convictions, as seen in his 2024 Joe Rogan Experience podcast where he passionately defended his spiritual journey. Stephen, leaning forward in his host chair with a mischievous grin, kicked things off. "Mark, welcome to The Late Show. Flight Risk looks like a wild idea. How do you juggle those high-octane stunts with preaching Bible verses in your fitness app?" The audience chuckled, but Mark's smile tightened, sensing a barb. "Stephen, it's about balance. Body, mind, soul. Faith fuels my work," he replied, his Boston accent thick with conviction. The crowd applauded, but Stephen leaned closer, his eyes twinkling. "Balance? Mark, your app's got scripture with squats. Don't you worry it's a bit preachy for gym rats who just want gains?" The question was light but pointed, echoing unverified 2025 YouTube claims of a clash, and Mark's eyebrows arched. "Preachy, Stephen, it's guidance, not a sermon, and unlike some talk shows that preach cynicism," he fired back, his tone firm yet composed. The audience murmured, catching the dig, and Stephen's grin sharpened. "Cynicism? Mark, your Wahlburgers empire's fun, but mixing faith and buzziness, some say it's a gimmick." The studio buzzed with tension, and the house band tried to ease it with a light riff. Mark leaned in, his voice rising. "Gimmick? My faith's my rock, Stephen, and not a punchline like your monologues." The crowd split, some cheering Mark's fire, others laughing at Stephen's wit. Stephen pressed on. "Punchline? Mark, your Ted Bear antics are comedy gold. Don't you see the irony in going from raunchy to righteous?" Mark's jaw tightened, his tone sharp. "Irony? I've grown, Stephen. You're twisting my life into a joke." The stage was a powder keg, the crowd fueling the fire, as cameras zoomed in on Mark's steely gaze and Stephen's sly smirk, setting the scene for a shocking clash that would dominate headlines. Though no verified 2025 incident occurred, with web sources like YouTube videos flagged as clickbait. As The Late Show with Stephen Colbert returned from a commercial break, the studio was a pressure cooker, the audience buzzing with excitement after the fiery opening exchange between Mark Wahlberg and Stephen Colbert. The set's vibrant neon backdrop felt almost ironic against the simmering tension, as Stephen tried to reset with his trademark charm. "Welcome back, folks. Mark Wahlberg's here, and we're diving deep into faith and films." But Mark, seated with his arms crossed, wasn't in the mood for pleasantries. His eyes locked on Stephen. "Deep, Stephen, you've got more to say about my app. Let's hear it," he said, his voice dripping with challenge. The crowd gasped, and Stephen leaned forward, his smile strained but playful. "Mark, I'm just curious. Bible verses with burpees? Don't you worry it's too intense for casual gym-goers." The question doubled down on his earlier jab, and Mark's jaw tightened. "Intense? Stephen, it's transformative via body and soul, not just reps for laughs," he fired back, his Boston accent slicing through the applause. The audience erupted, some cheering Mark's passion, others murmuring at his barb. Stephen, unfazed, raised an eyebrow. "Transformative? Mark, you're giving us this devout Catholic vibe. Don't act surprised when we ask if it's genuine or just branding." The jab was sharp, and Mark's voice rose. "Branding? My faith's my core, Stephen, and not a stunt like your satirical bits." The crowd roared, and the guest band leader, a fictional musician named John Batista, tried to intervene. "Mark, Flight Risk sounds epic. Let's talk action." But Mark waved him off. "No, John, I'm tired of Stephen painting my beliefs as a gimmick for his show. The accusation landed like a punch, and Stephen's grin faltered, his tone sharpening. "Gimmick, Mark, I'm just doing my job asking questions. You're the one getting defensive." The audience was in a frenzy, some chanting Mark, while others clapped for Stephen's wit. Mark leaned forward, his voice booming. "Defensive? You're implying my faith's fake, Stephen, like I'm some Hollywood sellout." The crowd gasped, and Stephen's face reddened, his voice trembling with frustration. "Sellout? Mark, I'm a fan, but you're acting like I'm attacking your whole life." Mark's eyes narrowed, his tone icy. "You are attacking me, Stephen, turning my convictions into a punchline." "I thought this was the Late Show, not a roast." The studio was chaos, the audience on its feet, as the producers signaled frantically for the band to play. The music started, but it couldn't drown out the drama. Stephen, his hands gesturing, fired back. "Roast? Mark, you're making this personal, acting like I'm the enemy. This is late-night TV." Mark stood, his hands on his hips. "Late-night TV? You're using me for drama, Stephen, and I'm not here for it." The crowd roared, and Stephen stood too, his voice booming. "Drama? Mark, you chose the spotlight. Don't cry foul when I ask real questions." The audience gasped, and the cameras stayed locked on the two, capturing every moment of the escalating feud. Mark's face contorted with fury. "Real questions? You're throwing shade to look clever, Stephen." "I'm done." The producers, now in full panic, signaled for security, but the stage was a powder keg, and the fuse was burning fast. Despite no verified 2025 clash occurring, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert studio was a battlefield, the air thick with the heat of the escalating clash between Mark Wahlberg and Stephen Colbert, the audience on the edge of their seats as the verbal duel reached a fever pitch. Mark, now standing, loomed over the set, his leather jacket a bold statement as he pointed at Stephen. "You think you are clever, Stephen, turning my faith into your comedy circus, but I'm not your punchline preacher." The crowd roared, split between those who admired Mark's fire and those who lived for Stephen's razor-sharp wit. Stephen, standing to match him, his voice sharp. "Punchline preacher? Mark, you're serving up this holy roller image. You don't act shocked when I question it." The jab was brutal, echoing unverified 2025 YouTube claims of Stephen mocking Mark's authenticity, and Mark's voice boomed. "Question? You're accusing me of faking my beliefs, Stephen, when I'm living them." The audience gasped, and the band tried to play a light riff, but the noise was drowned out by the crowd's cheers. Stephen, his eyes glinting, fired back. "Living them? Mark, your app's got Bible verses in deadlift, so don't blame me for calling it out." The crowd gasped, and Mark's face reddened, his voice trembling with fury. "Calling it out? I've dedicated my life to faith, Stephen, and I'm still standing." The insult was a direct hit, and Stephen's smile vanished, his tone icy. "Standing? You chose the Hollywood spotlight. Mark, don't cry foul when I do my job." The studio was chaos, the audience on its feet, as John tried to regain control. "Mark, your flight risk stunts are wild. Let's focus there." Mark, his fists clenched, snapped. "Wild? Stephen's twisting my mission into clickbait, John, and I'm sick of it." The crowd roared, some chanting Mark, while others shouted Stephen. As the tension skyrocketed, Stephen, his hands on his hips, shot back. "Clickbait? You gave us the script with your Faith Fitness brand. Mark, don't get mad when I read it." Mark's voice rose to a shout. "Read it? You're attacking my integrity, Stephen, like I'm some prophet-driven preacher." The audience gasped, and Stephen's eyes narrowed, his voice booming. "Preacher? I'm holding you accountable. Mark is something your fans let you dodge." The jab was a low blow, and Mark took a step closer, his voice a low growl. "Accountable? You're just chasing laughs, Stephen, and I'm not your prop." The crowd was in a frenzy, sensing the climax, as Stephen fired back. "Prop? This is the Late Show, Mark. If you can't handle the heat, there's the door." Mark's eyes flashed with fury, his voice a shout. "Heat? You went too far, Stephen." He slammed his hand on the desk, the sound echoing through the studio, and turned toward the wings, his strides purposeful. The audience roared, some cheering his exit, others booing Stephen's audacity. As security moved in, unsure whether to follow, the cameras stayed locked on Mark, capturing the moment that would dominate headlines. Though no verified 2025 appearance by Wahlberg involved such a clash, the producers, in full panic mode, signaled for the band to play, but the music couldn't drown out the chaos. As Mark paused at the edge, turning back with a steely glare, "My faith's real, not your comedy bit,"